I started recording. Okay. Now, because you people have come today, you have joined today, let me just give you a quick recap of what we studied in the previous class. We had started with the chapter that is communication and network concepts. In your textbook, it is mentioned as computer networks. Okay, it is chapter 14. So this chapter is actually divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. So we are going to first see part 1, and we had covered in the last class. I'll just give you a quick recap. We had covered the introduction about what is a network. Most of the things you people might already be knowing. Okay, so we just saw what is a simple computer network, components of a computer network. Okay, hosts, what are hosts? As we know that hosts are the nodes, the computers, the network devices which are attached to the network, they are known as the hosts. Then the servers, you want to keep your files, you want to set some servers, some computers as servers which will serve requests coming from the client. So those are known as what? Servers. There could be file servers, there could be print servers, there could be web servers. So different types of servers can be allocated
Just like
for
present in a
computer.
computer.
Yes. Yes, just like in your
Just like
second computer lab, which is your end computing lab, you might have seen that we have one computer which has the CPU box, the system unit, right? So that computer is actually, all the others are clients which are simply using that computer. Now, there are few computers which you might have seen in the second lab. Some 5 computers are there which are additional standalone computers with their own processor, their own RAM, their own hard disk space, right? But there, most of them are what? Clients. Most of the computers, they are not actually computers, they are simply terminals which are attached to the server which is kept right in front. So what is happening? Multiple users are using that server, and not only that, in our IT room also, the room just beside principal's office, there is a huge server which serves, which is on 24/7. So you, Manan, you might be already knowing that. Okay, so that is connected to most of the computers in the office. The principal's computer is also attached to it. Okay, the medical room computer is also attached to it. Even all our lab computers, they are also attached to that server. That is the reason why a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when we used to have that Adonai MIS, teachers used to enter marks sitting in your computer lab and it would be saved in the server. Right now, we have switched to a cloud platform, a cloud-based application named School MIS, and hence we don't need to be physically present in the lab for entry of the marks, right? I've already explained this part in detail in the previous class, so I will be uploading the offline lecture. In that, you will get all this, right? Although this is all the basic stuff, right? Next is the client. So the client is just like, it could be a dumb terminal without any processor, without any storage. Understood? Only the display and the keyboard will be there, or even the mouse can be there. That is the output, and the input device would be there. So the client would be placing requests to the server, and the server would give some response, right? So this is what happens at most places, especially you might have seen in banks. When you are using your net banking app through your smartphone, so your smartphone forms the client which places a request with the server of the bank, the centralized bank server, from where you are able to access your account information. Network interface unit, that is your LAN card. So it is also attached to your computer. Every device, every computer will have a LAN card which allows communication with the network. Okay, which forms a terminal access point, also known as the network interface card, also known as the LAN card, and that helps in converting the digital signals of the computer into the electrical analog signals, right? The telephone lines which are there, they are actually used to transfer all the, they are used to carry all the data in the form of electrical signals. Got it? So this is your NIC, the network interface card. Then we have the communication channel. So now the communication channel means you have your client, you have the server, but in order to carry information, carry data from your computer, from the client to the server, we need something, and not just client to server, but from one computer to other computer which is connected over on through a network. Okay, I'm not specifically talking about internet, but I'm talking about any network where computers are connected. You need a communication channel, that is a transmission medium. It can be wired or wireless, which we will be seeing. Actually, we have to start with that topic today. Then what are the softwares? We specifically need some network protocols and some network operating systems and specialized applications for working on a network. Network services refer to applications that provide different functionalities over a network, such as DNS, file sharing, and VoIP. So DNS is domain name system. That is, we as humans, we tend to remember URLs better than IP addresses, right? Every site has its own IP addresses. So what happens is there are DNS servers, domain name system servers, which contain a database of URLs and their corresponding IP addresses. So whenever you just type www.rediffmail.com, it will be first sending the request to a DNS server to get its IP address. It gets the IP address and then it will send a request to the actual web server of Rediffmail, from where you will be getting your email page. File sharing, yes, there are some file servers also. If you want to upload a file somewhere or you want to download a file, that becomes file sharing. And VoIP, that is voice over IP. Whenever you call a customer care service, you might have seen they direct you to press some buttons, okay, and depending upon which option you are choosing, that particular offer or that particular section you will be redirected to. So that is your VoIP. So these are all the network services which are provided. Yes, so today we start with types of networks. So there are now these three things you have been studying from your very early days, right? That is from very smaller classes, right? That is types of networks: LAN, MAN, and WAN. And apart from this, you also have PAN, that is personal area network. Right? So you also have PAN, which is your personal area network. What is personal area network? If you have your smartphone, if you have your smartphone, if you have your laptop, right? If you have your desktop and they are connected to each other via some medium. Normally, smartphone is a wireless device, laptop is a wired plus wireless device. We can attach a LAN cable to the Ethernet port, or we can also communicate it through the built-in Wi-Fi adapter. And similarly for your PC also, you get to purchase, you might be knowing that you get to purchase a Wi-Fi adapter, which is a small, very small device which can be connected to the USB port, and it can B, it can be enabled to accept radio signals from other devices so that it can be attached to a small network. So when I form, and even when you connect your smartphone with another smartphone via Bluetooth, or with your smartphone with your laptop for quickly transferring a file, which cannot be done for a larger area, only if it is confined to a very shorter area. I'm sorry, I'm not good at remembering numbers. So it is usually confined to the space of a room, right? And even it could be nearby rooms or near buildings which are situated very close. Like whenever I switch on the Bluetooth of my laptop, I usually get a Bluetooth request from the nearby building. Okay, and because the name is there, so I can recognize that that person lives in the apartment just near to my apartment. Okay, so this is how, if devices are close to each other, they would be able to communicate. So it forms a very small network within a limited area, and hence it is known as personal area network, because we are not actually getting connected to a larger network. It's a small network which we have in our house. Like in my house, I have a desktop, I have a laptop, I have two smartphones. So if I connect all of them together, and I have a Wi-Fi router modem, and with that I am able to connect all my devices and use access internet through that, so that becomes a PAN. Apart from that, you have local area network, LAN, MAN, and WAN. Just a second. Let me just. So over here, one sec. Let me just select the ink. Okay. This is my LAN. As you can see, a small clip art which I have taken from the internet, and you can see two computers connected to a server. They could be full-fledged workstations, that is hosts, computers containing their own processor, their own RAM, their own hard disk space, and they could also be dumb terminals, that is without any storage capacity or processing speed or processing capacity. Okay, they are only capable of accepting input, sending it to the server, and displaying, right? So this forms a LAN. Then you can see a MAN, and MAN, you can see hospital LAN, school LAN, college LAN, factory LAN. That is a network which is spanning across the periphery of a city. That's why it is known as metropolitan area network. It comes from the word metropolis, which means city. Okay. Wide area network, or WAN, of course, it connects LANs and MANs all over the world. That is over a larger geographical network which extends beyond the periphery of just a city. Okay, even if you connect one city with another city, that comes under WAN. Okay, that comes under the vicinity of WAN. So let's see LAN in detail. Computer networks confined to a local, example, office, a building, a factory, a college campus. Okay, all these are what they form a LAN, and that is why it is known as a local area network, because the network is just connected to a small localized area. In our, I'll give you the example of our Montfort school. You have one LAN which is there in lab 1, you have second LAN which is there in lab 2, you have a LAN which is there. I'll just speak out the names of the rooms which have those computers connected to the LAN: principal's office, the IT admin office, the accounts office, the reception, the medical area, then the three coordinators rooms, right? So this forms a LAN. And the primary building also own LAN, their computers are also connected. So when I'm connected, but that extends beyond, there is some distance between that. So that comes under what? Not LAN, but MAN. That is metropolitan area network. वो LAN नहीं कहलाएगा. right? And if suppose Montfort School thinks about opening another branch at some other location at Bhopal, then what will happen? Be that will also be considered under man, right? Key purpose, resource sharing, both hardware and software. So this is very important, resource sharing. Why? Because we cannot purchase standalone devices for each computer. We cannot purchase 10 printers for 10 computers. That makes it a bit costly and expensive also. So what, even it's not like every time I'm printing something, one printer is sufficient for handling my tasks. Multiple users can also use that one printer via a network. So resource sharing is also the key purpose of any network, right? Information sharing is there, and resource sharing is also very important, and it comes in very handy. LAN users can share data, information, programs, printer, hard drives, modems, etc. So you can see all these things can be shared using LAN. So that is why it is quite cost effective. If I have a software, like we were facing problems with that Adonai MIS. There was an Adonai MIS which we were using, which we used to use a few years ago, and because of which, and most of all, it was not compatible with the N computing lab. Right, we tried installing it on the server, but we observed that we could use it only on the server and not on all the terminals. Hence what we did was we fixed lab 1 as the area where teachers would be coming and entering the marks. So teachers could use only limited number of computers, and there was too much of rush at certain times. That is especially just before the declaration of the results, there used to be a lot of rush in the in lab 1, and some teachers even had to stay for long hours in the school and stay back hours in the school for entering the marks. So looking at all these things, they just upgraded the platform and made it a cloud application. And we already know that cloud means somewhere on the internet, your software is there, your application is there, and you are using it from there. So what we do now is we simply open montfortbhopal.com, our school website, and there we find an option named School MIS, which even you people have used to download your report cards, e-report cards this time after half yearly. So there is an account for every teacher and every student there. So we teachers can also enter the marks sitting in the comfort of our house, right? In a typical LAN configuration, a computer is designated as the file server. So that is for sharing files, for uploading files to the server, for downloading file, any kinds of requests regarding files. It stores all software that controls the network, software that can be shared by computers attached to the network. This is what I just explained. Computers connected to the file server are called workstations. They are less powerful than file server. They may have additional software on their hard drive. So you can see these are general points. Computers connected to file server, already they are nodes, hosts, or workstations, and they are less powerful, which means either they will have no processing capability, no storage capacity, or even if they have processor, even if they have a hard drive, even if they have some RAM, they will be having it in very limited quantity. Okay, they may have additional software on their hard drives. Of course, if they have a hard drive, if they have a processor, they may have some softwares on it which are not necessarily your network softwares. On most LANs, cables are used to connect the network interface cards in each computer. So now why network server? Sorry, why network softwares? Can anybody tell me why network softwares are useful or better, or we can say cost effective than softwares which are standalone? Manan, Vardhan?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Why do you think that network softwares are, firstly, tell me what is your opinion about network software, that is softwares which run on a network, and the softwares which are simple desktop applications which cannot run on a network?
Ma'am, network softwares are like less of hardware, more of softwares,
Hmm.
and we could say
They are cost effective
standalone
also.
softwares are cost
Hmm.
effective, less of space carrying, and
Hmm.
a widely connected option.
Yes, and they are widely connected. That is, most many computers which are attached to the network, all computers which are attached to the network, which are a part of the network, can use that software. We need to purchase that software once. Okay, okay, fine. The company might charge us for using it on a number of terminals, but that would be much lesser as compared to buying individual softwares, individual desktop applications for multiple computers. Right. So that is the reason. And moreover, what you said was that they take less amount of space also. Sometimes they could be, their functions could be distributed. Like these days, you already might be knowing, and even you people can access that, right? All of us have a Microsoft account, right? So what we can do is we can easily use Office 365. We don't need to download the desktop app. Even this Microsoft Teams we can easily use without downloading, so that saves the space on our individual computers hard drive, first of all, and moreover it makes it efficient. But its requirement is that we should have an internet connection, or it should be part of a network. So fine, whatever you said, that is absolutely correct.
Also
So
a
they,
compatible
yes,
device.
just please elaborate this point.
Ma'am, these networked applications are a bit heavier than that of standalone.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they will be.
So, ma'am,
So
the system should be strong enough to carry them up.
exactly, yes. The system should also be up to the mark, and it should have that configuration, the minimum hardware requirement which is to be fulfilled. Like many students, they are facing problems in 11th class. There are many students who are facing problems with the latest version of Python, as you are also facing. That is Python 3.8.5. That is because uh, the hardware requirements for this latest version has changed, and the computer which you are using, it was purchased way back, and its hardware has already become kind of obsolete, right? Even not, if not obsolete, then at least it is not up to the mark, right? So that is one of
I'm
the reasons.
extinct,
Hmm?
extinct, endangered.
When did you purchase your computer? It would be long back, if I guess.
Ma'am, it is of build 1996 and I got it in
1996 is too, my God. I got my computer first PC when in 2005, and it's already 10 years that my computer is now lying there at a top shelf. So your computer, like you have managed.
it's like I just made up kind of applying some BB cream and etc. on my computer and running it around.
And running it, and really because you are already aware with certain things, so you are able to run the computer even now. Somehow it is still working. Okay, but still you will face, as you are already facing problems with your Python project, right? That is because most of the libraries, they need a their hardware configuration is not being fulfilled. That is why they are not able to run on your PC. Yes, so exactly that was one of the reasons also by because of which that Adonai school software, it didn't work on in the N computing lab. Okay, it wasn't none of it didn't work on multiple users, because what happens is those terminals are what they are actually they correspond to one particular user. Like here, in our standalone computers also we have multiple users, but what we can do is we can use one user at a time, right? And there also multiple users were there which were being accessed, which were being I mean like accessed by people through different terminals. So because of that, now that software was not capable enough to handle multiple users at a time. It could handle only one user at a time. That is the reason why it didn't work. So we had to switch to a better option, that is a cloud based application. So that is exactly what happens is network softwares, they have their different requirements. Of course they would be requiring a heavy configuration. That is because they need to run on a network and serve some hosts or workstations on the network. So on most LANs, cables are used to connect the network interface cards, that is LAN cards, in each computer. So layout of a LAN, as you can see over here, there is a printer, this is the server, this is a hard drive, and this is a switch which is connecting. Switch or a hub, but these days hubs are absolutely obsolete. Switches are used, which are used to connect each of the computers together. Next we see MAN, that is network spread over the periphery of a city. For example, cable TV network spread over a city, like Hathway cable, or when we had that city cable. Okay, it was spread confined to a particular city only, and that service was not available in any other city. The purpose, or the example which I gave you, that is if Montfort School opens another branch at some other location in Bhopal, like Sagar Public School, all its branches might be connected to each other. So that forms what? MAN. Purpose, again sharing, first of all information, then sharing hardware, sharing resources among its users. All teachers, now what if suppose Montfort School opens another branch somewhere in Malviya Nagar, Bhopal, what will happen? All of us would be using one software for entry of marks. So that is what? Sharing hardware, sharing software resources. And because we have totally shifted to cloud based applications, so it won't be a problem at all. Earlier I will even tell you, teachers who are there in the primary building, they used to come to our building for entry of marks. तो इतनी खराब सड़क पार करके वो हमारे स्कूल में आते थे, मार्क्स की एंट्री करते थे. लेकिन अब उनको जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज दे कैन डू इट इवन थ्रू देयर स्मार्टफोन्स, बिकॉज देयर इज एन एडोनाई ऐप आल्सो which doesn't work half of the time, so they can still work through the Chrome browser or whichever browser they are using on their smartphone. So this is a small image of a metropolitan area network which spreads across the periphery of a city. Then next is WAN. Networks spread across the countries are known as WANs, that is wide area network. The moment a network just spans beyond or extends beyond the periphery of a city, it comes within the vicinity of wide area network. Internet is an example of a wide area network, and even your bank is an example of, if it is a bank like ICICI Bank, whenever you are traveling, even if you are traveling abroad, sorry, even if you are traveling abroad, you can access your bank account, right? So that comes under what? WAN. And if it's a small bank, matlab like you might have heard about that Bandhan Bank. Okay, so it has just started. So I can keep that under the category. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on whether we can access. These days, I can access every bank account even from overseas. So they come under the vicinity of WAN. So it is a group of computers that are separated by large geographical distances and tied together. Can even be a group of LAN spread across several locations connected to look like one big LAN. WANs link computers to facilitate fast and efficient exchange of information at lesser costs and higher speeds. That is the reason why you send a message to someone sitting at any part of the world and that person receives the message quickly. It's not like I have a friend who just lives in the nearby apartment, so he will receive the message faster. And I have a friend who lives overseas, he will receive the message 10 years later. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Okay. So WANs definitely they link computers, and different types of computers are linked together so that data exchange, that is information exchange, can be done at higher speeds. Computers connected here are often connected through public networks such as telephone system, leased lines, and satellites. So telephone system is the normal telephone lines which are spread by the telephone companies, okay, which use large cables which either run above the ground through the towers, or they through the poles, or they run through underground cables, okay. And leased lines are dedicated generally uh, provided to large businesses, okay, for performing their tasks quickly, for quick transfer or faster communication over the network. They need dedicated lines. They cannot wait for getting the connection, because जब भी वो system on करे उनको वो connection fast चाहिए, नहीं तो उनका काम नहीं होगा. So that is lease lines, and for which they have to pay some money, and which is usually higher than your internet or your telephone bills, right? And satellite links, that is wireless. And these days, if I tell you, we have digital subscriber lines, that is DSL. We have digital subscriber lines which are also copper wire, simple copper lines, right? Which uh, transmit data in the form of electrical signals, that is analog signals only, but at a higher speed. And because of the network devices which are being used there, the transmission of the signals is very fast, right? Because they use part fiber optic cables, part copper cables, and because of that the speed has been increased. So we are also getting some 40 mbps or 50 mbps, even 200 mbps of speed these companies are providing us. So our work is even done through that. Most people these days are using the common telephone system only. Like I have an Airtel connection which provides me 50 mbps of speed, तो मैं क्यों जाऊं lease lines के लिए? If I am getting it at a rental of 499 per month plus taxes, why should I go for a costlier medium, right? Then WAN. So this was just a small image of a WAN, just to show you that it connects computers worldwide on a I will not say that it exactly has to connect computers throughout the world, but the moment it crosses the vicinity of a city, it comes under the category of WAN. Next is point-to-point links. So point-to-point link relies on two functions, transmit and receive. There is some image problem, so I'll just draw that image over here. When individual computers, they are connected to each other, that is one computer connected to other, this is known as two point, also known as peer to peer link. Okay. Peers, when I talk about this term, that is peers. Vardhan is your peer. You are Vardhan's peer. That is, all the people who are sitting in a class, they are what? Peers. My colleagues are my peers. That is people whom I am connected to. Right? So when I say point to point or peer to peer link, it means computers which are at the same level and they are connected to each other. It is not a master slave relationship like a server and a client. ये नहीं है. Client server is a different scenario and peer to peer is a different scenario where each computer is at the same level of configuration and status and they are connected to each other. So this way computers have a dedicated connection between them. So this is an example and mostly this results into a distributed network where there is not one fixed computer which will act as a server. Rather, we would have computers which are distributed so that even if one part of the network stops working, the other part continues working. So they rely on two functions, transmit and receive, give and take. Okay, each station receives exactly from one transmitter. GIF image, and I didn't have idea that it was a faulty GIF image. Each station receives exactly from one transmitter. Each transmitter transmits to exactly one receiver. Transmit and receive operations can take place over separate wires or take turns with the same wire. So this is how a point to point link can grow, right? Sometimes it can be like there could be separate wires over here as you are seeing it, and sometimes it could be like a token ring system where multiple devices, they are attached to the same main cable, right? And this is how they are sharing one transmission medium itself. So here you can see workstation, and in between you have a cable as a link, mainframe and a workstation. Both have different configuration, different speeds, different storage capacity. They are also connected through a link, and sometimes workstations are also connected through an unguided medium, that is a wireless link also. Non-dedicated server, and because of this point-to-point networks, nodes connected to point networks or computers connected to a point-to-point network or a peer-to-peer network, they are very good candidates for non-dedicated servers. Right, so they can easily form non-dedicated servers. So here you can see this is a small image which I have taken where this represents a server, a standalone server, and you can see all three servers are at the same level. It is not always necessary that your servers have to be simple computers, microcomputers. They can also be mainframes, they can be supercomputers. Also, they can be, although supercomputers are usually single computers which are financed by a country's government. So let's not bring that. So you can have computers which are at the same level and they are connected to each other. On small networks, a workstation that can double up as a server is known as a non-dedicated server. Double up means a workstation will work as a simple computer also, and it will become a part of a non-dedicated server also, playing two roles at the same time. So it is not completely dedicated because it keeps switching its roles. Such servers can facilitate the resource sharing among workstations on a proportionately smaller scale. Since one computer works as a workstation as well as a server, it is known as peer-to-peer network also. So non-dedicated servers can form a cluster, and cluster of computers, that is group of computers, which together act as a server. So here we are, client server network. Now, just as I was talking about this kind of a network where you have a server, a very large computer, or a computer with some extra processing speed, some additional hard drives and higher memory, that forms a server. And many small terminals, either they could be dumb terminals or they could be intelligent terminals containing their own processing speed, storage capacity and memory, like workstations. Okay, so these are what? Clients. So this is a master-slave relationship where you have a server which acts as the master and multiple clients are there. And sorry, I should not use the term master-slave relationship, because here clients request information and servers serve that by sending a response. Okay, you visit a bank and you just tell your account number to the employee over there. That employee is going to enter the account number in the software, and immediately your bank balance detail, your account details are in front of you, which you get in the form of a hard copy, right? So request is sent in the form of the bank account number, and response is received in the form of a hard copy or your account information soft copy, right? So this is a client server relationship. So bigger networks prefer to have centralized control. Usually banks like to have a centralized control. This is done by designating servers. Now this computer will only act as a server, not as a standalone computer. So these are also known as master slave network. So today's class we end over here. Just give me a moment so I could take your attendance first. So was the class clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anything which I taught wrong or which you didn't understand, please let me know later. Okay, if you don't want to speak up here, you can just let me know later. So we end our today's class over here, and tomorrow you will get an offline lecture where we will be continuing from here only. It now, because I need to complete the syllabus in this within this month, so I won't be repeating online lectures in offline lecture. Okay, so please do watch the offline lecture, because that I will not repeat in the online lecture, right? So I sign off here. Thank you everyone.